I've got it now. All right, well, welcome to the Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City's Thursday, May 21st docket, having our Webex virtual hearing. Today, the board will be hearing regular items, which are transfer and hardships. I'm just going to be going through the presentation and the outline of the packet very quickly. To begin with our introduction to the Webex platform, you can see below there is a link for all those who are watching. If you want to log online and click on that link, use the access code and password to access the hearing online. They can. If you do not have a computer or other device, or similar device, you can call in using the phone number at the bottom and the access code. Just materials and evidence related items for this docket. A copy of the entire docket can be found online at the link llb.baltimorecity.gov/hearings-schedule. There's a 48-hour rule for evidence on online hearings. All physical documents that you would like to see the board review and consider as part of the application must be submitted 48 hours prior to the hearing date. And again, for future hearings, you can submit those documents to Ms. Stacy Russell. Just related items, amendments made to applications by applicants or their representatives cannot be accepted after we post. So that date, May 7th, was 14 days prior to this date. Moving next, just the procedures, and very briefly, there's going to be, I'm reading the instructions right now. What I'm going to do is call the cases in the order as they are listed on the short docket. I'm going to ask the applicant or his or her representative to identify themselves, spell your name, speak slowly and clearly when you do so, because our court reporter will be recording all of this information. And if any of the witnesses are going to be testifying, they too must have access to a laptop computer or iPad or similar device so that the court reporter can see them when they're being sworn in. The hearing will then proceed. The applicants and or their representatives may proffer to the board as to their case. The board may then have questions. Upon conclusion of the case, the chairman will ask individuals who are on the call, witnesses, members from the public would like to testify. If there are individuals, I would please ask that they use the raise your hand feature to be recognized. I will be able to see you, and once I see you, I will be able to allow you to become a panelist, and then once you're a panelist, you will be able to speak and testify. The board will not be hearing or discussing non-case related matters. We're just going to be dealing with the case for the board. If you are not speaking, I would just ask that you mute yourself so that we don't have any kind of reverb issues. And just here are some general ground rules. Speak slowly in a clear voice. The court reporter understands exactly what's being said and who's saying it. Please note that this is being recorded. All attendees, members of the public, provide testimonies must be sworn in, and no physical evidence will be taken at these proceedings. No new physical evidence. And with that, I'm going to jump into the first case, if I may, Mr. Chair.
Please.
James Schellenbaum and Vasiliev, Curtis Avenue Associates LLC, trading as Thumpers, 4600 Avenue, is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. It's an application to transfer ownership with continuation of live entertainment. This time, I'm going to make the attorney, who's Justin Williams, a panelist, and that way he can, and his clients, that way he can proffer for them. And I believe all of these individuals are now, okay. And everyone, Justin, are you there?
I am.
James, are you there? James, are you there?
I am.
And Vince, Vasiliev?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Mr. Akras, thank you. And would you might want to change the exhibit on the screen to the first case. And before we begin, for those those who are listening to these proceedings or watching them. I wanted to welcome to the Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City, Mr. Robert Guy, who is our newest commissioner. This will be his first appearance with the board at our public hearings, and we're very grateful that he has joined us and look forward to working with him in the future. So, Mr. Williams, as to case number 1, would you identify yourself for the record, please?
Hi, good morning, Mr. Chair and Commissioners, and welcome, Commissioner Guy. This is Justin Williams from the law firm Rosenberg Martin Greenberg on behalf of the applicants, here with James Eric Schleibaum, who goes by Eric Schleibaum, and Veselin Vasilev, who goes by Vince Vasilev.
Can everyone please put your cameras on? Am I the only one that doesn't see the speakers?
It's mine.
See, Mr.
James and Vince have their cameras on.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to ask our reporter to please swear the witnesses.
All those here to testify, please raise your right hand. You swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury, the testimony you're about to give will be the truth.
Do.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Williams, you want to tell us about this application?
Sure, thank you. So this case is a transfer of ownership of a license at the same location. The license premises is 4600 Curtis Avenue, which is located in the Curtis Bay neighborhood on a commercial corridor, which is Curtis Avenue. I've provided exhibits to Ms. Russell in advance of the hearing that should be in front of you. This has an aerial photo of the premises in the area and a street view photo of the site, which shows the bar premises, and then there's also 7 rental units on the property as well that the applicant, Mr. Schleibaum, acquired when he bought the property a few months ago. For over a century, I'm sure as many of you know, Curtis Bay area has been an industrial mixed-use area since its heyday in World War II as a shipyard operation facility. This property has a history of serving the patrons and workers at those facilities as a corner bar and the kind of place where people would come after work and then on the way home to their house to enjoy a beer. Per its signage out front on bumpers, the storefront signage with bumpers shows that it's been there since 2002, and also has a history from the applicant talking to the workforce who are still there. That there's like a lot of regulars there, and it's the kind of place where everyone knows your name. The applicant acquired the property in February 2020, just a few weeks before the end of the state of emergency. And once it is all lifted and we try to get back to normalcy, Mr. Schleibaum intends to maintain a similar operation as was in place before. There are currently 3 staff in place, and we hope to hire 4 more part-time employees once we get back to normal. During this downtime, Mr. Schleibaum has invested over $13,000 in repairs and improvements to the bumpers facilities. There's an exhibit that I provided that shows the before and after pictures of the bathrooms, where a lot of work was put into modernize the equipment and facilities. The property has live entertainment privilege previously, and we hope to maintain that. Again, once we get back to normal operations, the live entertainment will consist of bands that perform occasionally. There's a history of violations, I guess 2 violations on the records that I was able to look at for serving underage minors, and so the applicant is very aware of that and will take precautions in his operations to have the staff card anyone who's under 40 years old or who appears to be under 40 years old. For the history of the applicants, Mr. Schleibaum will oversee day-to-day operations. He's the landlord of the entire property. He doesn't himself have a history of holding a liquor license. He is a former Marine and oversaw a team that did national security asset oversight with the White House, and he serves on a number of boards locally, including the Baltimore County Revenue Authority. Mr. Vasilev has been a Baltimore City resident for the past 10 years. He will not be involved with day-to-day operations, but he is a software engineer in healthcare and was back with Mr. Schleibaum quite some time. And so both are familiar with the importance of following the rules and regulations of the board. I can go into the factors the board is to consider, but I mean, the basic principle is that this place has been a bar for decades, and general operations will continue and hopefully be better with the investments that the applicants are putting into the premises.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Williams. The exhibits will be received. Let me. You said that Mr. Schleibaum does not have prior experience with alcohol sales. Will he or the staff all be tip certified?
Yes, well, definitely a staff. He has already gotten the managers, like the head bartender staff, to get their certified renewed.
Okay. And you said there are 3 there now, and there'll be others on a part-time.
The goal is to hire, well, so I guess, well, right now they've ceased operation, but hopefully they intend to keep the 1 full-time employee and 2 part-timers once we resume operation, and then going forward, if things go well, they would hire up to 4 more part-time staff to help provide security, especially like late at night if people are otherwise be working alone.
And are they ready to go once the stay is lifted?
The applicant is almost finished with every inspection for the property and seeking the UNO permit as soon as maybe this week. Is one sign off from, I believe, the plumbing issue.
Okay. Do the commissioners have questions?
Just a couple. Commissioner Guy, would you like to, do you have any?
I'm sorry, say that again, please.
Do you have any questions, Commissioner Guy?
No, I don't have any questions at this time.
Okay, so I do, and I applaud Mr. Schleibaum and, the applicant for their investment in this, and shows a vested interest in the community. The question about live entertainment, in the application you reference bands. Is that what was the continued live entertainment? Is that what Thumpers has been allowing? Have you been putting on bands?
I'll let Mr. Schleibaum correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there was occasional band performances. The middle of the venue, there are pool tables that get pushed to the side, and the floor plan was kind of a general open area, and so bands would set up occasionally in a corner and perform.
No, that's exactly right. From talking with the staff previously, maybe once a quarter they would bring in a band. So the manager was looking just, I know for the past maybe couple of years they haven't been doing that, but looking to renew that going forward on maybe like a quarterly basis, as well as continue the pool tables. There were 2 leagues that we currently have, and hoping to retain them as well going forward.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. My only point is if
I just may add, if you're going to speak, just please announce yourself and identify yourself for the court reporter before you speak. For the witnesses.
So I appreciate that. I was, my only concern was if the live entertainment was, something small and acoustic and then suddenly changes to loud bands every other night. That in fact may be acceptable. I don't know, but I guess my larger concern would be that there'd be some communication to the community. So, which leads me to the next comment. Just our question is what I didn't hear specifically, what efforts have there been with the community, although I will recognize you have a clear.
Well, this is Justin Williams, counsel for the applicant. So the as to the concern about the band loud level of noise and disruption, the applicant owns the rental properties that are next door and above the licensed premises. So he has a vested interest to make sure that his residential tenants are going to be not disturbed by any activities on the premises. And we did not do the outreach to the community association, I guess because of the pandemic, This has been a bar though for decades,
Yeah.
and the general operation is going to be the same, if not hopefully improved with the extra investments that are being made in the premises.
Thank you very much. No further questions, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Guy, you have anything else?
No, I don't.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Williams, anything further?
Nothing further.
Mr. Akers, does the public have comments?
Hold on, Mr. Chair. To all the individuals who are on the call as attendees, ask, does anybody have any testimony to give to the board on this case? Mr. Chairman, I see no one raising their hand.
All right, we'll proceed then. Okay, on the basis then of the materials that were submitted to the board with the application, the exhibits which were submitted by Mr. Williams and received in evidence with this hearing, the proffer from counsel, and the testimony received, I would vote to approve the application to transfer this BD7 license ownership with continuation of live entertainment as stated by Mr. Schleibaum today on the record.
Okay.
Commissioners?
Commissioner Guy, would you like to proceed?
Yes, based on the information that I've had reviewed and based upon everything that was said here this morning, I would vote to agree to approve.
Great, thank you. I too would join my colleagues based upon the evidence, the testimony of Mr. Schleibaum, the proffer from Mr. Williams. I vote to approve the application with the continuation of live entertainment.
Thank you, gentlemen, and good luck.
Thank you.
I'd like to call exhibits for the record. Applicant Exhibit 1, business plan.
Thank you, Ms. Russell.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Calling the next case for the record. This is going to be Derek Green and Yasina Hill, Be More Incorporated, trading as Friends Grill, 737 Carroll Street. It's a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. It's an application to transfer ownership, requesting outdoor table service and off-premise catering. If we're to wait one moment, I'm going to bring in those panelists. Mr. Green, Ms. Hill, you should be on, and both of you are not muted. Are you on? You should be on now. Can you please turn on your video screens?
Will do.
I am on, and good morning.
Okay, Mr. Ackworth, would you change the exhibit, please?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Reporter, would you please swear the witnesses?
Still waiting for Mr. Green's, Mr. Green's video.
You should see me. I'm seeing
There
myself.
we go. I see you now, sir.
Okay.
Raise your right hand, please, and Ms. Hill as well. Swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is the truth.
I do.
Yes, I do.
Okay, good morning, Mr. Green and Ms. Hill. When you speak, please identify yourselves. I don't know who's going to do the presentation, but tell us about this application to transfer this license, please.
Good morning to the board, and thank you for this opportunity. This is Derek Green on behalf of Be More Inc. This is an application to approve the transfer of ownership of the BD7 license at 737 Carroll Street. This location is formerly the Pigtown Tavern, and we are in the process of purchasing both the license and the business. During this transition period, we have been operating the business, renaming it Friends Grill. The concept we came up with is a neighborhood bar that is welcoming to everyone, with a particular focus on our neighbors. One of our unofficial mottos is every friend, bring a friend, and make a new friend at Friends Grill. As noted in the hearing document, currently there is only one other license in the area, and that is a Class A license located on Washington Boulevard in Pigtown, which is approximately half a mile away. There are other restaurants located in Pigtown, but they are mainly takeout restaurants, venues with very seating capacity. We are the only establishment that offers food, drinks, and the option of watching both the Ravens and the Orioles. Our ownership group consists of 4 members: myself, Cynthia Hill, will also be on the license, husband, Ed Hill, and Wesley Shaw. All 4 partners possess strong management backgrounds. I have previous management experience in the bar and restaurant industry. I also have extensive managerial experience in the corporate and nonprofit sectors. Yesenia's managerial experience is concentrated mainly in the real estate sector. She has been a property manager in the Maryland region for over 20 years. Though they will not be on the license, both Ed Hill and Wesley Shaw come with extensive experience in their own right. Ed Hill has been in the technology sector for over 25 years, working for both a Fortune 1000 company as well as a tech startup. In addition to his professional experience of 20 years, Wesley Shaw is an active real estate investor. He is also a native of Pigtown, where he spent the majority of his youth. Since taking over the management of 737 Carroll Street, we have made it a point to be of service to the community. We have participated in a community cleanup and hosted a Thanksgiving Day turkey giveaway. Additionally, we were a distribution site for residents to come and pick up their neighborhood parking passes. We have become both the formal and informal community meeting location for residents, including serving as a meetup site for participants in the MLK Day Parade. Our operating schedule was created with the neighborhood in mind. Because we respect the fact that we are operating in their home, we selected operating times that would not place us at odds with our residential neighbors. Pre-COVID-19, our days of operation were Thursday through Monday, and we closed at 11 p.m. every day except for Sunday, when we closed down at 10 p.m. We have not had any incidences since we have been in operation, and we do not foresee our establishment causing any negative impact on the community in the future. From its time known as Jigs until most recently as Pigtown Tavern, 737 Carroll Street has been a fixture in the Pigtown community. Since we have assumed operations, we have kept the needs and relationship with our patrons and the community as our #1 core operating principle. Based on the feedback we have received to date, both in person and online, we have been successful in creating a warm, inviting, and friendly atmosphere with good food and drinks that continues the rich history and tradition of this location. It is our explicit plan to continue to be an asset to the Pigtown community, and we do not foresee any negative effects to the general health, safety, or welfare to the Pigtown community. For these reasons, we request the board approve this request for transfer of ownership of the BD7 license at 737 Carroll Street. We thank the board for their time and allowing us to present, and we welcome any questions the board may have.
Mr. Green, thank you for that excellent presentation. You covered most of the things that I wanted to talk to you about. We have before us a letter from Citizens Pigtown supporting the application, as well as a copy of a completion voucher for your attending the Restaurant Association of Maryland Educational Foundation awareness training course. So those will be received in evidence. Tell me about when you're in operation, the people who manage the alcohol there, are they tip certified?
They are. Our bartenders are, yes.
And about how many people do you have handling alcohol?
Right now, right now we're closed due to COVID-19, but pre-COVID-19, it was myself and we have 4 bartenders.
Okay, and they're all experienced?
Yes.
Okay. And let's see, and you said you're pursuing the business as well. Have you closed on that?
No, we're in the process of doing that. We expect to be able to close everything within the next 30 or 45 days.
Stay is lifted. Will you be able to start business, or do you need more time?
Our expectation, once we have a firm understanding of what the new reality is that we are going to jump right back in and pick up where we left off.
Okay. Do the other commissioners have questions?
I do. Mr. Green, excellent presentation. Sincerely, one of the best I've actually seen since being a commissioner. Well done.
Thank you.
Does the tavern have any specialties on its menu?
Yes, actually we do. Again, pre-COVID-19, one of our best sellers was our shrimp fries. We have our crab balls, which were also big sellers, and our fish po' boy. That was another big seller for us.
Great. Well, that's good to know. And I appreciate that. Let me ask, you're also requesting outdoor table service and off-premise catering. Have you thought about, as the chairman was making mention of, when the emergency lifts and there's social distancing, and how you might handle the outdoor table seating?
Currently, as the license is currently configured, there's table seating for 4 on the outside. Depending on the new rules of engagement post COVID-19, we may need to cut that down a bit because the seating is on the west side. The current license allows for seating outdoors on the west side of the building, and there may not be enough room. We have not actually measured yet enough room to seat all 4 safely. So if that is the case, we will really conform to the new regular, new normal, and space that out some more.
Thank you. I have nothing further.
Mr. Guy, any questions?
No. I have. Well, let me ask because I noticed that you'll be operating on the first and second floor. Are there bars on both floors, or you just have the bar on the first floor, and you serve the drinks upstairs?
Thank you for that question. The bar is located on the first floor. We have our tavern upstairs. So we have the permit for the fire permit is for 31 downstairs in the bar area. So we have 15 at the bar with some tables around the outside that seat an additional 15. And then we are licensed for occupancy of 90 people upstairs, where we have our tables and more traditional table service upstairs.
Okay. That's the only question I have. Thank you.
Mr. Green, anything further?
No, thank you. We appreciate the time.
All right. Mr. Akers, any public comment?
At this time, if anyone who's an attendee would like to speak in regards to this case, testify in regards to this case, please use the raise your hand function. Mr. Chair, I see no individuals who'd like to testify in this case.
I will proceed then. Thank you. Mr. Green, on the basis of the materials that are contained in the application submitted to the board, on the basis of the exhibits which are received today, including the letter from Citizens Pigtown and your certificate of completion and your testimony before the board, I would vote to approve the application to transfer this BD7 license with outdoor table service and off-premise catering. Commissioners?
Commissioner Guy, based on the information that I have and for the presentation that you gave, I would vote to approve that you move forward.
So thank you again, Mr. Green. Ms. Hill, I'm sorry we didn't hear from you, but Mr. Green did such an excellent job.
He does.
Based upon the record before us, the evidence, the testimony from Mr. Green, I would approve this transfer of ownership with outdoor table service and off-premise catering. Good luck.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Russell?
Thank you very much.
Might call exhibits for the record. Applicant Exhibit 1, letter of support from citizens of Pigtown. Applicant Exhibit 2, alcohol awareness certification. Thank you.
And to all applicants, Mr. Green, Ms. Hill, you will be receiving notification in the mail as to the next steps and that verification that this application was approved.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going to be calling the next case. Next case is Emmanuel Curtis, Zena LLC, trading as Chiton Bistro Crew, 800 South Kenwood Avenue. Outdoor table service. Mr. Chair, if you just give me a moment, I will bring those panelists in.
That's fine.
Mr. Previs, Mr. Curtis, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, can you hear me, Mr. Akris?
I can. Mr. Previs, can you turn on your video camera?
Now I think it's on.
Okay. It is
Okay.
on.
Ms. Previous, will you identify yourself for the record, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, and nice to meet you, Commissioner Guy. Peter Previs on behalf of the applicant Emmanuel Curtis, Xenia LLC, who is also on video with us.
And I'd ask the reporter to swear Mr. Curtis, please.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Curtis, can you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm under the penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is the truth?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Previs, let's hear from you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am filling in this hearing and the next 4 hearings for Mr. Kadensky, who is under the weather, and I will attempt to keep it as concise as possible and do my best under the circumstance. The Chiton Bistro has been at the corner of Fate and Kenwood for many years. Mr. Curtis is age 23. He's worked in the family business since he was 14 years old, starting in the kitchen. He's now up front. His mom, Ms. Girgos, is endeavoring to open another restaurant, and the family intention is to put Mr. Curtis in the existing business that he already knows, as opposed to trying to start the new business. Since he already knows this business, he's quite comfortable in there. The Chiton specializes in Mediterranean food. The trade name is not going to change. The menu is not going to change. He will continue to manage. He is already alcohol awareness certified. He's been a manager at the premises for 4 years already. He's part-time at UMBC. He has not quite finished all of his credits, but he is still attending some classes. But he's been in the family business since he was 14 years old, and he knows the business. Mom owns the building. Nothing is planning on changing for this business, and the employees are the same. And then, but for the COVID-19, it will be open and operating as it always has.
Are the employees certified?
Mr. Curtis, are all of your employees tip certified? And if they aren't, you will endeavor to have them tip certified?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what about the community? Is there any involvement with the community?
I've known this community basically my entire life. I mean, I know everyone here on basically a first name basis. It's a very close-knit community here in Canton, and I've been interacting with all my customers for the past 10 years almost, and I'm excited to continue.
Okay. And you've had good relations with them, I take it?
Oh, yes, sir. Very, very good relationship.
Okay. Do the commissioners have questions for Mr. Curtis?
Mr. Guy, no, I don't have any questions.
No questions, just a comment that the record's very good and tells me you've been operating a good establishment. So
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Akers, are there public comments?
Just one moment, sir. At any time, or now, if any individual who's an attendee would like to provide testimony in regarding this application, can you please use the raise your hand function? Seeing none, Mr. Chair.
All right, we'll proceed then. Thank you, Mr. Previs. I hope Mr. Cadenzi and his wife are doing okay.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you, Mr. Curtis. On the basis of the materials contained in the application, proffers from counsel, and the testimony received, I vote to approve the transfer of ownership of this BD7 license with continuation of outdoor table service.
Thank you very much.
Commissioner?
Commissioner Guy, upon the review of the evidence and testimony presented before the board, I vote to approve the application before the board.
I would join my colleagues in approving the transfer of ownership with continuation of outdoor table service based upon the testimony from Mr. Curtis and the proffers from Mr. Previs.
Thank you. Good luck, Mr. Curtis. And Russell, are there any exhibits?
There are no exhibits.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and Mr. Previs, Mr. Curtis, you will be receiving information in the mail concerning the approval of this application and the next steps.
Thank you, sir.
Calling the next case, James Jones and Woodim Sayom Demesi, Gaiety Liquors Incorporated, trading as Gaiety Liquors, 412 East Baltimore Street. This is a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license and application to transfer ownership. Mr. Chair, if I just may have your indulgence, I'm going to pull in all of the parties. Okay.
Hey!
Okay, I've got Mr. Previs, you're still with me. I've got Woodim and I have Mr. James Jones. They have joined as well. Can you please turn on your videos? Video access.
I see Mr. Jones. Okay.
Woodim, are you with us?
I'm here, but I cannot turn on the video. I tried to turn it on, but I cannot. Disable on this meeting, it says.
Well, Mr. Previs is going to be testifying.
I would request to proceed by way of a proffer, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Demesi, he's on now. He is the owner operator. Mr. Jones is the resident licensee.
Okay, well, let's have the reporter swear them.
Gentlemen, can you raise your right hands if you're going to testify? Swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Previs, thank you. And I think I skipped your identification for the record.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the Peter Previs, on behalf of the applicants, Wondam, Demesi, and James Jones, I would like to proceed by way of a proffer.
You may.
Thank you, sir. The location of the licensed premises is 412 East Baltimore Street. The premises is operated as a liquor store for many, many years, known as the Gaiety Liquors. It had previously temporarily been closed, but the application had been submitted prior to any 180-day rules implications. Mr. Demesi has purchased the building and plans to be the owner-operator of the liquor store operation that is in the rear of the first floor of the building. I don't know if any of you have recently been by the premises, but there is a carry-out in the front, and then there's a totally separate area that is a self-contained liquor store in the back, and the premises is always operated in that fashion. Mr. Demesi has a lot of business experiences. He's a franchisee of 4 7-Eleven stores in the Washington, D.C. area. He has prior experience with alcohol. He's been previously alcohol awareness certified in D.C. and will have his alcohol awareness prior to opening for business. The premises is not very big. He'll just have 1 or 2 employees and intends to be on hand, on site, operating this business on his own. Mr. Jones is the Baltimore City resident licensee. He further understands his obligations as a resident licensee. He will not be actively involved in the day-to-day operations, but understands his responsibilities to make sure that the premises is operated in a lawful fashion. Unless the commissioners have any questions, I believe I've covered the necessary information.
And as I'm looking, it doesn't look like there's a violation. Is that correct?
The prior operators,
Yes.
I'm not aware of any.
Has not been a problem location.
I don't think so.
All right. Do the commissioners have questions?
I do, Mr. Chairman. So, Mr. Davis, can you just speak to this sort of concern I have about, so Mr. DeMissi has 4 7-Elevens in the DC area. He lives in Rockville, and he's going to own and operate this liquor store, which is located right downtown, right?
Yes, sir. It's right on the block.
Right. So it's in a pretty high traffic place, or pre-pandemic, let's say that. How is he going to manage that?
Mr. Messi, would you be
Yes.
so kind as to address?
Yeah, my name is Wandem Dempsey. So I'm 39 years old, and currently I own 4 7-Eleven, and also I own liquor store too, maybe because Peter maybe said his experience, but I currently own a liquor store in Washington, D.C. still. And also I own two soul food restaurants in commercial building. So basically, I believe on training people. I don't believe on making myself always there. I believe on duplicating and creating a very good manager on each store. And also, I believe on paying the right amount of payroll or salary to a good manager. So I'm being by myself, like you, I can't run all these 24/7 liquor store and restaurant. That will tell you how I'm good on managing and how I'm good on doing things. So, and also the travel you asking from Rockville to Baltimore, actually this one is near. I live in North Bethesda, almost Rockville. So Baltimore is nearer than all my places. In DC, I have to travel 5 minutes. But in Baltimore, from my house to East Baltimore is only 38 minutes. So basically, that's the nearest I can travel to manage the business.
Thank you. I appreciate your response.
Mr. Guy, have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions at this time.
Okay. Anything further, Mr. Previs?
No, sir. I would just add that one of the ingredients to success for operating as franchisees for 7-Eleven stores is getting a consistent staff, which Mr. DeMesse has seemed to accomplish that skill very well. In the event he does hire a full-time manager, we will make sure that that manager is alcohol awareness certified as well as identified to the board. He's recently purchased a building. I happen to represent his carryout tenant, Mr. Valentino Gomez, who tells me that he's a fantastic landlord and a very reasonable and fair person. And I am sure that you will not have any trouble out of Mr. DeMesse because he is a very responsible business operator. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any public comment?
Mr. Chair, is there anyone who would like to testify in regards to this case? Please use the raise your hand function. Mr. Chairman, no one has raised their hand to speak in this case.
Okay. Thank you then. On the basis of the materials contained in the application, the proffers from counsel, and the testimony received, I vote to approve the application to transfer this Class A liquor license.
Commissioner Guy, upon review of the evidence and the testimony presented before the board, I vote to approve the application before the board.
I join my colleagues based upon the evidence and the testimony, the proffers from counsel. I vote to approve the transfer of ownership. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you, gentlemen. Good luck. And Ms. Russell, are there any exhibits?
There are no exhibits.
Thank you.
Mr. Previs, in this case, like the prior, we're going to be sending notification of to you of the board's approval and of the next steps towards licensure.
Thank you, sir.
Calling the next case, it's going to be German Bahina Torres and Robert Cook, Obsession Bar LLC. Obsession Bar, 701 South Curly Street. It's a Class BD7 beer wine liquor license and application to transfer ownership. I'm just going to bring those parties in now. I see. Mr. Torres, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Previs, I see Mr. Torres is here. I was looking for Mr. Cook, and I do not see him as a attendee.
Mr. Bahina he's on the phone on the screen with you. Is that right?
Yes.
Mr. Torres is on the screen, yes, but I do not see Mr. Cook, the second applicant.
Mr. Cook is standing next to Mr. Bahina.
You guys got to put your video on, guys.
Yeah, you have to turn
There
the
it
video
goes.
on. Okay, there it is. Got it.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Previs, want to identify yourself for the record?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Peter Previs on behalf of the applicants German Bahena Torres and Robert Cook. I would like to proceed by way of a proffer.
You may, but first let's swear the witnesses, please.
Gentlemen, can you raise your right hands, please? Swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth.
I do.
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Previs?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The premises at 701 South Curly Street has been a neighborhood bar for many, many, many years, most recently known as Curly Street Cafe. In January of this year, Mr. Bahena has purchased the building and in the meantime is purchasing the liquor license and intends to continue to operate this establishment as a neighborhood bar. He is currently undergoing renovations and upgrades to the building. He is in the real estate and construction business. The establishment will not require very many employees. It's a pretty small business. He will be alcohol awareness certified before he attempts to open for operations. Mr. Cook is the Baltimore City resident licensee. He understands his obligations as a licensee, but he has no ownership interest and will not be involved in the day-to-day operations of the establishment. Mr. Bahena intends that any of his staff, once the place gets up and running, are alcohol awareness certified as well. There is currently no food. His plan is to get open and then to do certain renovations to provide for a kitchen and food facilities as well, but that's not in the immediate plans. Mr. Bahena, are you going to be the full-time operator, or are you going to have your family or other management?
I will have a certified manager and 3 certified bartenders.
Okay, you're still in the construction phase, so you're not even ready to open at this point. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And you're working on the fine details, but you understand your operations. This is a serious obligation that you will comply with all the rules and regulations with regard to not selling to minors, not being a nuisance to your neighbors. Have you reached out to your neighbors and explained to them your plans for having a quiet, peaceful neighborhood bar? Is that correct?
Yes, I just took my alcohol awareness classes.
Very good.
Okay. So where does he live? Do you live in the community?
I live on 837 West Cross Street, downtown. Town.
So are you familiar with the Curly Street neighborhood?
Yes.
Okay. And how far along in construction are you?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
How much more construction do you need to do? Renovation?
It's pretty much almost done. It's almost done. So maybe two weeks working in there should be done.
Okay. And I guess you're waiting for the opportunity for these facilities
That's
to be
correct.
open, and you'll have to abide by all the COVID-19 regulations.
Exactly. Okay. That's right.
Okay. Commissioners, have any questions?
Commissioner Guy, are you planning on? I know initially you said that you were just going to open up as a bar. Are your plans also to open up a kitchen? Are you serving food?
Not at the moment, but in the future, we're planning to do on the second floor, but it's gonna be later on the road.
Okay.
Mr. Greenfield, have any questions?
No questions, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Mr. Previous, anything further?
No, sir. Thank you.
Any public comment, Mr. Akros?
Just a moment. Are there any individuals who are on the call who wish to comment? Please use the raise your hand function so you can provide testimony in this case. Mr. Chair, no one is raising their hand to participate in this hearing.
All right, we'll proceed then. On the basis of the materials contained in the application and the testimony received today during this hearing, I vote to approve the application to transfer this BD7 license to the applicant.
Commissioner Guy, upon review of the evidence and the testimony presented before the board, I vote to approve the application before the board.
Based upon the testimony proffered from counsel, I vote to approve the application.
All right, good luck, gentlemen. Thank you. And Ms. Russell, do we have any exhibits?
No exhibits.
Mr. Previs, Mr. Torres, Mr. Cook, please note that the board will be sending out verification of the board's approval and the next steps towards licensure.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Calling the next case on the docket, Latina Crosby, L. Crosby Incorporated. Trade name is pending, 1846 through 50 West Pratt Street. There's a Class BD7 beer wine liquor license, a request for a transfer hardship extension under the provisions of Alcoholic Beverages Article 12-1705B. Indulgence, Mr. Chair, I'm just going to bring those parties on.
You need to change the exhibit, Mr. Grack.
Ms. Crosby, are you there?
Hello?
Yes, Ms.
Hello?
Crosby, can you please turn on your video?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Ms. Crosby, can you turn your video, please?
Her mute's on. Her video's on.
Ms. Crosby? Ms. Crosby, can you hear me?
It looks like her mute is on as well, Mr. Akris.
Yeah, I've turned her mute off, and it seems like, I don't know if it's just her phone. Ms. Crosby?
Is she going to be testifying, or is Mr. Previs doing this case?
I will proceed by way of a proffer, Mr. Chairman. It's a request for a 90-day extension on a pending transfer.
All right, let's proceed. You want to identify yourself?
Peter, good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Peter Previs on behalf of the applicant Latina Crosby, L. Crosby, Inc. The board approved a request for transfer of ownership only on October 24th, 2019. 180 days took the application or the timeline to April 21st, 2020. Mr. Kadensky filed a hardship letter on March 17th, 2020. So even without any COVID implications, that was timely. The applicant is requesting an additional 90 days that would take this to July 20, 2020 to complete the necessary both financial and cosmetic requirements that will be required to actually get the doors open. She is on her way to doing that, but has run into a couple glitches, but is confident that she can complete by July 20, 2020.
Okay, commissioners have any questions?
No questions.
Mr.
No
Guy?
questions.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Mr. Previs. On the basis then of the letter from Mr. Kadensky of March 17th and your proffer this morning, I'd vote to approve a 90-day hardship extension.
Commissioner Guy, upon the information that was garnered this morning and based upon everything that has been stated in the testimony, I vote to approve the application for the extension.
Yeah, based upon the evidence before us, the proffer from Mr. Previs, I grant the request for a transfer hardship extension.
Thank you. Good luck to Ms. Crosby. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I don't think he asked for public comment there.
I didn't, sir. That you jumped into that. I apologize. But if there's anybody that does want to provide any public comment, can you use the raise your hand function? Mr. Chair, nobody raised their hand.
Okay. So the decision stands then. Thank you.
Yes. And Mr. Previs, you will be receiving information in regards to this.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. I'm calling the next case. This is Rule Kumar, contract purchaser, no trade name, 1401 Decatur Street, the Class D beer, wine, and liquor license, a request for a hardship extension under the provisions of Alcoholic Beverages Article 122202. I am now going to bring Ms. Kumar in as a panelist. And Ms. Kumar, can you please turn on your video?
And I've been emailing this person. So don't worry about it, because when they say, oh, I brought this person called in after the customer has bought the car, right?
Ms. Kumar?
Yes.
Can you please turn on your video?
Sure. There we go. Start my video.
Can the reporter please swear, Ms. Kumar?
Ms. Kumar, can you please raise your right hand? Swear or affirm, under penalties of perjury, the testimony you're about to give will be true to you. Sorry, let me start it. Swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be true.
I do.
Are you representing Ms. Kumar, or are you by yourself?
I'm here, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, okay. So, Mr. Previs, we have a letter from Mr. Kadensky of April 9 requesting an extension in an abundance of caution. You want to fill us in?
Yes, sir. This is a 180-day hardship request. Ms. Kumar owns the building at 1401 Decatur Street. There was a prior tenant that was the licensee in the premises, and the license, Ms. Kumar had a security interest in that. The tenant's lease was to run out in December, but left on November 30, 2019. Within that 180 days, Mr. Kadensky filed the hardship letter on April 13th, 2020. Additionally, a substitute application was filed and approved for Ms. Kumar on April 6, 2020. Ms. Kumar most respectfully requests that the 180-day rule be extended by an additional 180 days. She is in the process of attempting to find a new tenant end user for the business and the license, and needs additional time to accomplish that. And Mr. Kadensky indicated, although there's certain COVID-19 additions to time, that he is doing this as if that did not exist, and in an abundance of caution to make sure that everything is on track.
And Mr. Atkins qualifies for an additional 80 days?
Yes, this application qualifies for an additional 180 days. They filed in a timely manner prior to the 180-day rule, and the board is authorized, if they approve the hardship request, to allow for an additional 180 days.
Thank you. Do the commissioners have any questions?
I have none. Guy?
No questions.
Okay, thank you. Public comment?
If there's anyone now who would like to provide witness testimony in regards to this request, please use the raise your hand function. Mr. Chair, I do not see anybody who'd like to testify in this matter.
Okay, thank you. On the basis then of Mr. Kadensky's letter of April 9, 2020, requesting the extension, as well as the proffer from Mr. Previs this morning, I'd vote to grant an additional 180-day hardship extension.
Commissioner Guy? Based on the testimony and evidence before the board, I vote to approve the request for hardship extension.
Based upon Mr. Previs's proffer, I too would join my colleagues in granting an additional 180-day hardship extension.
Thank you. Good luck to Ms. Kumar.
Thank you, sir.
No exhibits.
Mr. Ackert, does that complete our docket?
That does complete our docket, Mr. Chair, and if the chair calls it, the board would be in recess until June 4th, 2020.
Ordered. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.